In the beginning, there was nothing. Then the cinematic universe was born. At that very moment, single-cell organisms started to reproduce. Then animals. Then dinosaurs. This is the story of how we came to be. They were not like any other apes, though. These apes walked upright on 2 legs instead of 4. See, this group of apes lived in an environment that was changing drastically. The climate was becoming drier, and the forests they lived in were slowly turning into grasslands. As a result, trees became less and less common, which meant that climbing wasn't an option anymore. You see, we didn't just pop into existence. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then the universe was born. Life began to emerge. Single-cell organisms started to reproduce. Then animals. And after 65 million years of non-stop evolution, it was our turn. We, the humans. We evolved from simpler life forms that also lived on Earth. They were the closest thing to humans at the time, but they still had a long way to go. They developed the ability to walk upright on 2 legs, freeing their hands to carry objects. They were something new, something different, something that would come to dominate the planet. They also developed the ability to speak, which allowed them to communicate more effectively with each other. They learned to control fire, which provided them with a new source of energy and allowed them to cook their food. They also developed the ability to think abstractly, which allowed them to plan ahead and solve problems more effectively. Their brains were much smaller than ours, and they didn't have the ability to speak or use tools. But over time, things began to change. Their brains grew larger, and they developed the ability to communicate with each other in a rudimentary way. They also learned how to make simple tools out of stones and wood, which helped them hunt and gather food more efficiently. There's evidence of this all around us. For example, we have bones and fossils that show how our ancestors gradually changed over time. We also have genetic evidence that shows that we share a lot of our DNA with other species. All of this evidence tells the same story, the story of how we came to be. So if they couldn't climb, they had only one choice: walk on the ground. At first, this was really difficult. After all, they had evolved to live in trees, and their bodies weren't built for walking on 2 legs. But over time, they got used to it. And since they walked on 2 legs, their hands were free to carry stuff. And more importantly, to fight. Walking upright also gave them better vision, which helped them spot predators from far away. So, thanks to the changing environment, these apes evolved to be better hunters and gatherers. But despite their human-like posture, they still had ape-like hands and feet. To them, life was pretty chill. Every day they would wake up, grab some food, and hang out with their friends all day. And after 65 million years of non-stop evolution, it was our turn. We, the humans. But what happened before that? How did we go from being a bunch of cells to a fully grown human being? Our story begins in the deserts of Eastern Africa. We've built massive cities, created complex laws, and developed the ability to destroy entire planets. We've also come up with all sorts of wacky theories about where we came from, such as the theory of intelligent apes, the theory of extraterrestrial intervention, and the theory that we were created by a Big Bang. It would take millions of years for them to become the dominant species on Earth. That is, until one fateful day when everything changed. You see, even though they walked upright and had human-like characteristics, they still didn't look or behave like us. Fast forward to today. We are arguably the smartest species on Earth. But none of those theories can compare to the awesomeness of the actual story of how we came to be. So let me tell you that story one last time. Okay, so rewind back to the apes in Eastern Africa. As the millennia passed, these apes continued to evolve. Finally, after hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, these apes were no longer apes. Hey, do you think we're alone in the universe? Probably not. Check out this video to find out why. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.